You've seen the thumbnail and the title. The TLDR is I'm switching from DistroKid over to LANDR, and I think you should as well, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. Hey, what's going on? It's JP. Welcome to the channel. If you've never been here before and you want to learn all about music tech, live looping, live streaming, and all the tools you need as a modern independent musician, then have a look around the channel, click subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll know when the next video is out. Now, I'm going to give you full disclosure even before we begin. LANDR are sponsoring this video because I reached out to them and they're happy to do so. Of course they are moving from DistroKid to LANDR, so why would they not be happy sponsoring this video? Now, a little bit of backstory. I've been using DistroKid for a good couple of years, and I've been very fortunate enough for them to sponsor the channel as well. But recently, a couple of videos have caught my attention of people jumping ship and moving over to LANDR, and I started to question why. Like searching for a new car, unless you definitely know what you're after, you shop around. So I started to do just that. And to be honest with you, I completely disregarded LANDR because when I first discovered LANDR, they were a mastering company doing AI mastering for a specific price. And at that time, I had a different company for an AI mastering tool that I used, and they no longer exist. So it was refreshing to actually look at LANDR and realize they actually do 6 different things now. And I'm not going too deep into every single one on this video, but they still do the mastering, of course, which is AI-driven mastering. They do sample packs, they do plugins. They also now have courses about all the things that they do, and also collaborations as well, which includes networking, which is really cool. And then finally, they have distribution. Now, if you just took DistroKid and took the price of DistroKid, it's initially cheaper, but DistroKid has a load of add-ons you can add on, and they are optional. You don't have to do it, but to get the most out of your release, you kind of want to add them all on. But then some of them are annual subscriptions and some of them are one-off payments, but it bumps the price up for every release. And LANDR have a distribution basics plan, and they also have a distribution pro plan. However, they also have something else which is called Studio, and for me this is kind of the best of both worlds, because I need a mastering plugin now because the old one that I used, that company doesn't do it anymore. And then I also need distribution. On top of that, they've also got some pretty cool plugins and also sample packs. So when you look at this on the outset, it looks like you're paying more money, but actually if you add everything in compared to the extras you pay for with DistroKid, you're paying less and getting more. So you can just pay for the distribution if you just need distribution, and that's fine. And the basic is $23.99 a year. There's also the pro one, which is $44.99 a year. However, if you double that and pay annually, LANDR Studio, the standard version, is $99.28. There's also a pro version, which is £191.88. With the essentials plan, you get MP3 masters, which that's fair enough, but I don't want that. I want WAVs. So the essentials one for me is kind of out. But the standard, you get 36 WAVs, and then the pro, you get unlimited, and you can get WAVs and HD WAV as well. You get unlimited distribution on the Studio, whether you go for Essential, Standard, or Pro, but you also get a load of sample credits. So if you want to download samples to go into your projects, you get 1,200 credits for the Essential, 1,800 credits for the Standard, and a whopping 2,400 credits for the Pro. Now on top of this, they've got the plugins. So the plugins actually are worth a certain value, and you can actually get up to a certain value of plugin depending on which one you go for. The Essential has £500 worth of plugins, the Standard has £1,000 worth of plugins, where the Pro has £2,000 worth of plugins, and this is annually, remember. Now I'm going to put up next to me on screen the difference between just paying for the distribution, the basic one and the Pro one, and the difference between doing that and Studio. For me, paying £191 a year for everything and not have any hidden costs is actually more viable than every time you release something, then you got to pay an extra bit on top, plus you need mastering, plus you might want this plugin. So for me, the top tier is just an absolute win. On the very, very basic one, there's certain things you don't get. So you don't get the monetize and YouTube ID. You don't get that with DistroKid either. You need to get up to the pro version, or you need to pay for it additionally. You get advanced reporting, custom label name, custom release date. Again, you can't get that until you go to the middle tier, which is what I'm on with DistroKid. But then when you go to Studio Essentials, you get everything that's in Pro, but also on top of that, you get online mastering. You get royalty-free samples, plugins, promotional courses, high quality DAW streaming. The other thing as well with DistroKid is they do licensing for covers. And then what they do is they charge you per year. So they charge you per track per year. So if you do one cover, that's $12 for a year, and you have to pay that every year. LANDR do covers, which is £15 per track once. So if you do an album of 12, then yeah, you're gonna have to pay 15 times 12, but you only have to do it once. Whereas with DistroKid, you have to pay every year per track, and that can get quite pricey. Imagine you brought a cover out 6 years ago. So if I get a calculator out and go $12 times 6, then that's $72 that you've just paid. Whereas if I pay £15 once, it's £15. That's it. The other thing as well is that DistroKid have this part where you have the second tier, the middle tier, which you can have 2 different artists. With the Pro one for LANDR, you actually get 5 different artists. That's also replicated on the Studio Pro version as well. The Essential and Standard you get 1, and then also the Basic Distribution you get 1. Now the big one that everyone's worried about when you move over to a different distribution company is moving your stuff. It's like moving house. It's a pain in the bum. However, LANDR actually have a really clever system, and I'm going to show you this now. Once you've actually got an account, you can say included in your plan is add a release. So you can see it says LANDR will release to 150 stores. It'll stay live forever. So you don't have to pay the Leave a Legacy price with DistroKid. So that's gone. Then also start a release or import a release. This is really cool. So if you go to import a release, all you need to do is you just need to enter the Spotify or Apple Music release URL. It says right here, you won't lose your play counts or your playlist inclusions. We'll import the ISRC to create a draft release. Then you'll need to add the original audio files, complete the missing information, and submit the release to the team. Then once it goes live, they'll remove it from the other distributor. If you haven't looked at LANDR like I didn't, go and revisit LANDR because they've changed quite a lot and they've done quite a lot of new things. But my recommendation is that if you're going to go for it, yes, you've got just the mastering option, but I'd highly recommend to have a look at LANDR Studio because it's actually going to save you money. Yes, it's a subscription, but so is DistroKid, so is Ditto, so is all these other ones. So I'm going to be importing my tracks over and moving my stuff over to LANDR, which are already the ones that are released, and then my next release is going to be through LANDR directly. So thank you very much to LANDR for sponsoring this video. Click the link and go and get yourself 20% off any of the subscriptions or the master plugin. And then of course, if you want to actually learn more from me, there is a video that's just come up right there. I hope I've put that right. And that video is being suggested by the YouTube algorithm gods based on what you watch, what you'd like to watch next. Go watch it.